Hey guys, I'm Nikki Wood, and today I'm going to tell you a little bit about how I got started in all of this. This is a question that I get frequently. If you guys don't know, I'm a tarot reader, I do energy work, I'm an herbalist, and I'm also a witch. But most of the time when people are asking me the question, they're asking me because they know I do more like tarot cards and I intuit information and I'm psychic and those sort of things. So the question that I get is, how did you end up doing all this? Like, how did you start? How did you get to this point? How do you do what it is that you do? So today we're going to talk a little bit about, I guess you would say, like my origin story. There seems to be a lot of superhero stuff going on these days, and that's kind of what they're calling these things, I guess. I'm not a superhero by any means, but I do have extra powers from spirit that really do help me, help people along their way and give things to them that are beneficial and make them feel powerful and help give them some direction and help make them the best versions of themselves. The reason this started is I was kind of taking some basic spiritual classes and I was meditating, just kind of like entry-level stuff, I guess you would say. And I was curious and learning, but it's a long road. You don't know everything all up at front. So I decided to go get a reading one day. I just felt really like intuitively pulled. There was a local shop and they had a psychic fair on Sundays. And the last Sunday of every month, they had like 6 readers there. And I just knew just in my gut that I was supposed to go. I didn't know why. I didn't particularly need a reading or anything, but I just like, okay, well, Spirit's kind of pushing me to go and calling me to go, so I'm going to show up. And it was so intense I couldn't ignore it, so I just decided to go with it. So before I got up that morning for the next psychic fair that was coming for the month, I had kind of like opened my eyes and I saw a big black screen kind of out from my third eye, and it wrote in fire the name of this girl that I was supposed to go see for a reading. So I went there to the shop and I said, "Hi, do you have somebody by this name that reads here?" And they go, "Well, actually we do." And I'm like, so I said, "Well, I would like your first available reading with her." And so he scheduled me with her, and when it was time, I went and sat down and had the reading. And it was probably the worst reading I've ever had in my entire life. This woman didn't tell me anything positive. She basically told me like the worst of the worst things and made me feel like really crappy and really like hopeless and really dejected. And I was actually crying by the end of it because I was having some kind of issues at the time with things where I just needed a little hope or a little information or a little direction. And I was hoping she was going to give me that. And I really didn't get anything out of it, except for really upset. And so I went outside and I was kind of crying, which is very embarrassing for me. If you don't know this, I really hate crying in front of people. I know there's nothing wrong with it. I just really don't like it. And I was kind of sitting in the corner trying to collect myself because it had been raining a little bit and I was going to have to walk to my car. And this gentleman comes up to me. I had seen him in the shop earlier and he said hello, and I said hello, and it was very fine. It was like, "Oh, hey, cool candles, yeah," and kind of just went along. But he came up to me. He's like, "Excuse me." He's like, Are you okay?" And I was like, "No," like I was so upset. And he was so nice and so kind and so sweet. And he just had this really great energy about him. Because normally when guys come up to him, I'm like, "Okay, who are you? What do you want? What's going on?" Like there's this uncomfortable energy that I kind of pick up off of him. And this guy didn't have that at all. So I kind of opened up and I told him, like, "Well, I didn't get a really good reading." And he's like, "Well, what happened? Because they're not supposed to be like this. Like, that's not how that should have gone." And so I kind of told him a couple things and he kind of looked a little upset, like, "Wow, that really wasn't like okay." And so he said, "You know what?" He goes, "This is my name." He goes, "It's nice to meet you." He goes, I'm learning how to do readings. He goes, "Right now I just do them on a donation basis." He goes, "If you would like a reading, I would love to give you a better one." And I was like, okay, like, I was just so excited. I just needed something so good at the time. And so, we ended up walking down to the coffee shop and he was so nice. He bought me some coffee and he got his cards out and he gave me this really great reading. And it made me feel so much better. I felt like I had a lot more hope and a lot more direction and a lot more understanding, and I felt more empowered. And it was a really great feeling. And, he was like, "This is what it's supposed to be like. It's not supposed to be like that." So I opened up and I said, "Hey, this is really cool how you're doing this, I said, "I bought a deck of tarot cards when I was in college. They're really beautiful. They're a King Arthur deck, and I tried really hard to learn how to use them myself, but there's so many cards. There's like 78 cards. I just had a hard time." And he kind of just stared at me for a long moment. He said, "Would you like to learn?" And I was sitting in the cockpit of my head and I heard my mouth say yes before my brain was thinking about anything. And when I had thought about it, I was like, "Yeah, I really would like to learn this. This seems like a really cool, interesting thing. I'm the kind of person that likes to know like the nuts and bolts and how stuff works." And so, he looked at me again and I told him, I said, I was like, "I don't have a lot of money right now. I'm kind of in a bad budget area." And he looked at me and just for a long time I was like, "What?" And he goes, Nikki, I'm gonna teach you. He goes, Spirit's telling me that you need to learn that this is important for you, that you're gonna need this later on. And I was like, okay, that sounds kind of ominous, but all right. And we studied every, like every week. We would meet like usually once a week. Sometimes we would meet twice, but usually once a week. And we would read the cards. And I brought my tarot deck that I originally bought, and I had another one too, a traditional Rider-Waite tarot deck. And I was crazy enough to try to learn both of these at the same time. I don't know how I did that, but I did. And it was so fascinating and interesting to me. And he was such a good teacher, and I so appreciated his time and his passion and his expertise. And later on his friendship, because we did become very good friends after that. We started grabbing things to eat and hanging out. And he's still one of my best friends to this day. We've been friends for almost 14 years and at the date of this video. So it's been a really great experience for me. And the reason that I actually decided to start teaching tarot in addition to my other classes was because I don't want somebody to have another bad reading like me. Like, that was just a horrible experience. I got lucky. It was the best, worst reading of my life because I got the tarot out of it and I got a really good friend. But I do so many readings for people that get bad readings like this, and I hate it. It just breaks my heart. You know, like, it should be about making somebody feel good. It should be about making somebody understand what's going on or why and helping them, you know. And I feel like some people just, they give their own opinion. Like, you need to do this, you need to do that. You know, and you shouldn't be telling people what to do. That's their choice, that's their free will. But you can tell them what happens if they decide to go left or go right, and then they can pick whatever decision works best for them. So when I teach, I'm a little bit of, you know, I'm a little bit hard sometimes because I really want to make sure that I'm teaching in a way where you will read properly for other people. That's really, really important to me when I'm teaching, because I see so many bad readers and so many bad experiences, and it just breaks my heart. So, you know, if you've never had a reading before, come get your first reading from me. I absolutely love to do those. Those are my favorite ones. And if you want a reading from me, just anyway, just to get one, give me a call. I would absolutely love to work with you. So that's just a little bit more about me and my experience. I hope that you get to know me a little bit better through some of these videos. Until next time, thank you so much for watching, and have a really beautiful day.